The justice system is supposed to be logical. Well, prepare to have your faith shattered. We're counting down 101 lawsuits so absurd, so unbelievably stupid, you'll swear they're fake. You'll think, no way this actually happened. But the truly insane part isn't the lawsuits themselves. It's the fact that in every single case we're about to show you, they won. This isn't satire. This is the American court system. 1. Losing your psychic powers sounds like a personal problem, right? Not if a CAT scan is to blame. A woman sued a hospital, claiming their machine zapped her clairvoyance. Instead of a referral to a psychiatrist, she got a check for nearly $1 million. Apparently, her ability to see the future didn't include foreseeing that massive payday. 2. The difference between smooth and chunky peanut butter might seem trivial, but for one Texas inmate, it was a federal case. He sued the prison system because the commissary contract promised chunky, but they only gave him creamy. A judge actually sided with him, ordering the prison to respect his snack food choice. The legal system literally defended a prisoner's right to nuts. 3. Red Bull's famous slogan, "Gives you wings," was always, a metaphor. Well, not to a group of extremely literal-minded consumers. They filed a class action lawsuit for false advertising because, shockingly, they never sprouted feathers after downing a can. The result? Red Bull settled for $13 million, basically paying people for not turning into pigeons. 4. Ever been disappointed by a fruit-filled donut that's just a blob of sugary goo? A man took Krispy Kreme to court over this culinary injustice. His lawsuit claimed their raspberry-filled and maple-glazed donuts contained neither real raspberries nor maple syrup. The result? A class action settlement that forced the company to change its labeling for being deceptive. 5. Ever wondered if you could sue a haunted house for, being a haunted house? A woman in Florida did just that, suing Universal Studios because their Halloween Horror Nights attraction was too scary and caused her emotional distress. Instead of being told that's literally the point, a jury sympathized with her terror and awarded her $15,000. She basically got paid for getting exactly what she paid for. 6. You just can't make this up. A man using a bar's restroom was injured when a cleaning chemical caused the urinal cake to, shall we say, explode. It splashed him in the face. He sued for his injuries and the sheer trauma of being attacked by a piece of porcelain. The bar's insurance wisely decided not to argue the physics of an exploding urinal cake in court and settled the claim. 7. After getting drunk and crashing his new BMW, a man found himself trapped inside for 8 days. He sued BMW, not for his own terrible decisions, but because the automatic door lock wouldn't disengage. He argued the car had essentially imprisoned him. A jury agreed, completely ignored the DUI that started it all, and awarded him $1.7 million. 8. The peaceful sound of children playing? Or a tool of psychological warfare? A California couple sued their neighbors because the constant dribble, dribble, dribble of a basketball was causing them severe emotional distress. In a soul-crushing defeat for backyard fun everywhere, the court sided with the complainers. The family was ordered to remove the basketball hoop. 9. A man from Pennsylvania tried to use his old boomerang, but it flew back and hit him in the head, knocking him out. So he did what any reasonable person would do. He sued the city for not having a sign that explicitly warned people against throwing boomerangs in the park. And he won a $90,000 settlement for his own stupidity. 10. 2 women in Delaware were driving using a GPS, which told them to take a certain road. That road happened to lead them directly onto active railroad tracks, where a train promptly smashed into their car. They sued the GPS company, claiming its directions were negligent. And they won. Because apparently don't drive onto train tracks is information we now need a machine to tell us. 11. What's the dumbest financial decision you can make? How about selling a kidney to buy an iPhone? A man in China did exactly that. But the real genius move came later. When his remaining kidney failed, he successfully sued the black market hospital, winning enough compensation to buy a house. He essentially got paid for his own catastrophic stupidity. 12. Imagine being so bad at your job you get a $500,000 bonus for it. A burglar found himself trapped in a garage he was robbing, surviving on dog food for 8 days. Instead of just a prison sentence, he also got a check from the homeowner's insurance for his mental anguish. The legal system didn't just fail to punish him, it made his botched robbery profitable. 13. Can a lap dance be considered an assault with a deadly weapon? One man in Kentucky certainly thought so. He sued a gentleman's club, claiming a dancer's forceful and violent moves caused him permanent injuries. The club's insurance settled, presumably to avoid having to demonstrate the physics of the offending dance move in open court. 14. The promise of no crash later from 5-Hour Energy sounded too good to be true, and it was. Several states sued the makers for deceptive advertising, arguing their claims about the drink's effectiveness were completely bogus. The company was ordered to pay $4.3 million in penalties, proving the only major crash was the one their legal team experienced in court. 15. Going to the movies is now officially a hazardous activity. A woman got so terrified by a horror movie trailer that she ran, fell, and broke her ankle. She sued the theater for failing to warn her that a scary movie might be, well, scary. And she won, proving that in some courtrooms common sense has been replaced by liability forms. 16. Most people would just shoo a neighbor's cat away. One man in Britain documented its every move with surveillance cameras, creating a detailed log of feline incursions, and then sued his neighbors. In a soul-crushing victory for petty people everywhere, a judge sided with him, ordering the cat's owners to keep it on a leash whenever it was outside. 17. Call me now. The psychic hotline star Miss Cleo promised to see your future, but she didn't see this coming. The company behind her was hit with a massive lawsuit for fraudulent and deceptive advertising, having scammed callers out of millions. They were forced to settle, erasing $500 million in customer debt. It was the one prediction they conveniently missed. 18. This is the urban legend of lawsuits that's actually true. A guy with a shiny new Winnebago set the cruise control on the highway and then walked away from the wheel to make a sandwich. After the inevitable crash, he sued the company for not explicitly warning him that cruise control isn't an autopilot. A jury gave him $1.75 million for being a complete moron. 19. When is a joke not a joke? When a judge forces you to buy someone a car. A Hooters manager pranked a waitress, telling her the top-selling server would win a Toyota. She won and was presented with a toy Yoda doll. She sued. The court sided with her, forcing the company to buy her an actual Toyota. That's one expensive Star Wars pun. 20. The value of a professional asset can be specific. A stripper in San Diego sued a city bus company after an accident left her with scars, claiming it ruined her career. Her argument? Her one-of-a-kind butt was her main draw. She convinced a jury of its unique market value and was awarded $2.4 million for damages to her prized posterior. 21. The pursuit of happiness apparently includes perfectly frozen dessert, even in prison. A convicted murderer sued the state after the ice cream he was served had melted. He claimed this culinary tragedy was cruel and unusual punishment. The prison, wanting to avoid a lengthy legal battle over a scoop of vanilla, ultimately settled with him. 22. Getting paid to smoke is the American dream, right? A man who smoked 2 packs a day for 20 years sued the tobacco company for his addiction. His lawyer's brilliant argument wasn't that they lied, but that they should have made a less addictive product. A jury bought it, awarding him $200,000 for his own life choices. 23. Some warning labels exist because of one specific person. This is one of those times. A man, after drinking heavily, decided to test if his snowmobile's spinning track could injure him. It could. He then sued the manufacturer for not warning against this particular brand of self-destructive curiosity and, unbelievably, received a settlement. 24. The sun. It's been around for about 4.6 billion years, and it's generally understood to be hot and bright. But that wasn't enough for one baseball fan in San Diego. He got a sunburn at a game and successfully sued the city for $80,000, claiming a lack of adequate warnings. He literally got paid for forgetting to wear a hat. 25. Is there a price for being offended? In Delaware, there is, and it's over $500,000. Two women sued a radio station over a crude Mr. Hung contest. They claimed the joke caused them such severe emotional distress that a court agreed to make them rich. They effectively monetized their own outrage over a stupid pun. 26. It's David versus Goliath, but with gas mileage. A man bought a Honda Civic Hybrid based on its advertised 50 miles per gallon. When he only got 30, he didn't just complain. He took Honda to small claims court. He won a verdict of nearly $10,000, a legendary victory for every car owner who's ever felt lied to about fuel economy. 27. The Great Nutella Deception. A class action lawsuit was filed against the company for marketing their sugar and fat spread as part of a healthy breakfast. The lawsuit was a success, resulting in a $3 million payout to consumers who were apparently incapable of reading a nutrition label and genuinely thought chocolate frosting was health food. 28. Your name is your identity, unless it's the same as a famous movie character. A man actually named Austin Powers sued the studio behind the spy comedy, claiming the film made his life an endless stream of "yeah, baby" jokes. While he didn't get a huge payout, he did win a legal disclaimer, a small, deeply weird victory against Hollywood. 29. Here's a masterclass in turning criminal failure into a lucrative career. A thief fell through a school's skylight while trying to steal a spotlight from the roof. He sued the school district for providing an unsafe workplace for his illegal activities. In a decision that defies all logic, a court awarded him $260,000 plus a monthly check for life. 30. A prison haircut is usually mandatory, but for a Rastafarian inmate, cutting his dreadlocks was a violation of his deeply held religious beliefs. He sued the prison system, taking his case all the way to a federal court. He won. The court affirmed his religious freedom, ruling the prison's no dreadlocks policy was illegal. It was a rare legal victory for personal faith in a place designed to crush individuality. 31. Ever squinted at the tiny print in a phone book and felt a surge of rage? One woman channeled that rage into a lawsuit. She sued the phone company because the font was too small, causing her eye strain. Instead of being told to buy reading glasses, she won a settlement from the company, proving that poor graphic design can be a legally punishable offense. 32. Public restrooms are already a gamble, but for one man, a toilet literally exploded underneath him. He suffered serious injuries from the shattering porcelain. He sued the toilet manufacturer and the building owner, and a jury awarded him millions. The case officially established that our toilets now have performance standards they can be sued for failing to meet. 33. The biggest open secret in entertainment is that reality TV is completely fake. So what happens when a contestant sues a dating show for being staged? A man did just that, claiming the show was a sham. The network settled out of court, essentially paying him to keep quiet about something everyone already knew. He won a lawsuit against reality itself. 34. When a dog bites a man, the owner is usually to blame. But not in this case. After being bitten, a man sued not the dog's owner but the city. His argument? The city's leash law was too confusing to be properly followed. A court agreed that the poorly written ordinance was the real culprit and awarded him $250,000. 35. The dangers of free samples are apparently very real. During a promotional event at a supermarket, a man slipped on a dollop of guacamole and injured himself. He sued the store for creating a hazardous environment of delicious, complimentary dip. He walked away with a settlement big enough to buy a lifetime supply of avocados. 36. Checking the weather on your phone is a daily habit. But what happens when the app doesn't warn you about a specific patch of ice on a specific bridge? A woman in Utah crashed her car on an icy bridge, then sued the Weather Channel app, claiming it failed to provide an adequate warning. In a truly chilling decision for all tech companies, she won a settlement, suggesting our apps are now legally responsible for predicting microclimates. 37. The word unlimited is the most abused term in marketing, and the Federal Trade Commission finally had enough. They sued AT&T for slowing down the data of customers on unlimited plans. The result was a $60 million settlement to refund customers who were sold a lie. For once, a company was held legally accountable for not knowing the definition of a word. 38. Sometimes, a thrill ride is just too thrilling. A woman sued an amusement park because she claimed their new roller coaster was so fast and jerky that it gave her whiplash-like injuries. The park, likely fearing a jury full of people who hate roller coasters, settled with her. She essentially got paid because the ride did its job too well. 39. Some lawsuits aren't dumb, they're just pure nightmare fuel. A man in West Virginia went in for a minor surgery and woke up in the middle of it, fully paralyzed by anesthesia but able to feel every single cut. He sued the hospital for the unimaginable trauma. A jury awarded him over $20 million, one of the few times a massive payout feels entirely justified. 40. That delicious, artificial butter smell from microwave popcorn. It turns out it can destroy your lungs. A man who ate 2 bags a day for years developed a rare condition called popcorn lung. He sued the manufacturer. A jury awarded him over $7 million, a verdict that forced the entire industry to change its ingredients. 41. How do you win a lawsuit against a magician? You ruin the magic. A man who volunteered for a David Copperfield disappearing act fell and was injured. During the lawsuit, the court forced Copperfield's team to reveal the secret to the trick. The man won a settlement, but the real victory was exposing one of magic's biggest secrets to the world. 42. Neighborly disputes are common, but this one went nuclear. A man sued his neighbor because the roots from their tree were cracking the foundation of his house. That's a reasonable complaint? What wasn't reasonable was the $500,000 payout a jury awarded him for the damages. That's not just fixing a foundation, that's building a new house. 43. When you order loaded potato skins topped with cheddar cheese, you expect cheese. Not according to TGI Fridays. A lawsuit revealed the restaurant was using a cheese blend made mostly of potato starch and artificial flavoring. The resulting class action lawsuit forced the company to settle with customers for being sold fake cheese. It was a landmark victory for dairy purists everywhere. 44. This story has everything: a naked man, a phone booth, and a terrible decision. A drunk man got trapped inside a phone booth and, in his naked rage, tried to break the glass door, severely injuring his hand. He sued the phone booth company for his predicament, and he won. The company's insurance settled, probably because there was no logical way to argue this case. 45. Winning the lottery is supposed to solve your problems. For one man, it created them. He sued the lottery commission, claiming the 20-year payout plan they advised him to take was bad financial advice. He won, forcing them to pay him his full winnings in a lump sum. He literally won a lawsuit to get his lottery winnings a second time. 46. Losing luggage is annoying. For one woman, it was grounds for a lawsuit claiming severe emotional trauma. Why? Her lucky shirt was in the lost bag, and its absence caused her immense distress. Rather than question the mystical powers of her shirt in court, the airline settled with her for several $1,000s. 47. Here's a hot tip: candles are flammable. A woman who left a scented candle burning unattended was shocked when it set her house on fire. She sued the candle maker, arguing the warning label wasn't clear enough about the dangers. A jury agreed that "do not leave burning candle unattended" was apparently too subtle and awarded her over $1 million. 48. The word diet implies weight loss, right? That was the basis of a lawsuit against the makers of Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi. The plaintiffs argued that the drinks don't actually help you lose weight, making the name deceptive. The resulting settlements and marketing changes were a win for anyone who's ever been tricked by a dictionary. 49. A vacation in paradise turned into a legal battle against nature itself. A man was hit on the head by a falling coconut at a resort. He sued the resort for negligence, claiming they failed to warn him of the overhead danger. He was awarded over $1 million, officially making coconuts a known and legally actionable hazard. 50. Be careful what you promise in a radio contest. A car dealership promised a brand new Ford to a lucky winner. The winner arrived to claim her prize and was handed a 12-inch toy model of a Ford. She sued. A judge, not amused by the bait and switch, ordered the dealership to award her a full-sized Ford Escape. 51. How do you win a lawsuit after intentionally making your car harder to see? A man painted his car a specific shade of gray to blend in with the road, hoping to avoid speeding tickets. When another car hit him, he sued the other driver. A court awarded him a settlement, agreeing the other driver was still at fault for not seeing a car that was literally designed not to be seen. 52. In the eternal war between New York City tourists and pigeons, the legal system has officially picked a side. A man slipped on pigeon droppings while walking across a bridge, fell, and sued the city. His claim? The city failed to control the bird menace. The city settled the case, essentially paying a man for the crime of being pooped on. 53. When is a restaurant meal not just bad but legally negligent? When it's loaded with salt. A man with a heart condition ate a meal at a national chain, suffered a stroke, and blamed the massive undisclosed sodium content. A jury sided with him, awarding him over $1 million and forcing the restaurant to start posting nutritional information. 54. A haunted hayride is supposed to be scary, but one woman found it too authentic. A costumed employee with a prop chainsaw jumped out, scaring her so badly she had a panic attack and sued for emotional distress. The amusement park settled, basically admitting their employee was too good at his job of pretending to be a maniac. 55. Getting lost in a corn maze is part of the fun, unless you call 911 to be rescued and then sue the farm for making the maze too difficult. That's exactly what a family did, claiming the experience was traumatic. The farm's insurance settled, setting a legal precedent that seasonal attractions can now be liable for being too challenging. 56. Two women went to see the movie Drive, expecting a high-octane action flick like The Fast and the Furious. Instead, they got a slow-burn art film. They sued the studio for misleading advertising. In a stunning victory for picky moviegoers, a judge allowed the class action lawsuit to proceed, forcing a settlement. 57. Ever felt personally victimized by a piece of modern art? A woman visiting a museum tripped over an almost invisible art installation on the floor and broke her wrist. She sued the artist and the museum for creating a safety hazard in the name of art. A jury awarded her a six-figure sum, proving that art can, in fact, be dangerous. Year 98. This is a story about a man, his camel, and a very angry jury. An employee at a circus was smoking a cigarette when a camel sat on him, injuring him badly. He sued the circus. The jury awarded him $100,000 after his lawyer argued the circus should have known camels hate smoke and are prone to sitting on people who annoy them. 59. Your boss can't fire you for being too attractive, and that's now a legal fact. A dental assistant was fired by her boss because he found her irresistibly attractive and considered her a threat to his marriage. She sued for gender discrimination. The state Supreme Court sided with her, ruling that you can't fire someone just because you can't control yourself. 60. In a case that sounds like a cartoon plot, a man sued the city of Los Angeles after a police horse bit off part of his ear. The city fought the claim, but the man won his case and was awarded a significant settlement. It's now officially on record that police horses can be considered assault weapons. 61. A college student on spring break fell off a hotel balcony while trying to perform a stunt. He sued the hotel, claiming the balcony railing was too low. Instead of being blamed for his own drunken idiocy, a jury found the hotel partially liable and awarded him several $1 million for his poor decision-making. 62. You can now sue your own parents for a bad childhood. A woman in her 30s sued her parents for deficient parenting, citing things like a lack of emotional support and not paying for her college tuition. An appeals court actually allowed her case to proceed, and her parents eventually settled to end the public embarrassment. 63. The U.S. Navy once accidentally left a live torpedo on a public beach in Washington. A local man found it, tried to open it with a hammer, and was injured when it partially detonated. He sued the Navy for leaving it there. He won a settlement of over $300,000 for injuries he sustained while hitting a bomb with a hammer. 64. A woman bought a new pair of sneakers, wore them without socks, and developed blisters that got infected. She sued the shoe company, claiming they failed to include a warning that wearing shoes without socks could cause blisters. An insurance company representing the brand settled with her for an undisclosed sum just to avoid the trial. 65. This lawsuit is a win for anyone who's ever been annoyed by a neighbor's wind chimes. A couple sued their neighbors, claiming the incessant, high-pitched tinkling of their wind chimes was a form of acoustic torture that caused them anxiety and sleep deprivation. A judge agreed and ordered the chimes to be removed. 66. A man in prison sued the state after his request for a gender reassignment surgery was denied. He claimed it was a violation of his Eighth Amendment rights against cruel and unusual punishment. He won. A federal judge ordered the state to provide him with the surgery at taxpayer expense, setting a landmark precedent. 67. Is it possible to be addicted to a video game? A man from Hawaii thought so. He sued the creators of the game Lineage 2, claiming he was so addicted he couldn't function in daily life. He won a default judgment after the company failed to appear in court, a strange victory against the digital world. 68. A professional clown was attending a corporate event when an overzealous security guard tackled him, thinking he was a protester. The clown sued for assault, battery, and damage to his professional clowning reputation. He won a settlement, with the company essentially paying him for the trauma of being taken seriously for once. 69. Never underestimate the power of a bad smell. Residents of a town sued a nearby pig farm, claiming the overwhelming stench was ruining their quality of life. A jury awarded the residents over $50 million, a verdict that sent shockwaves through the agricultural industry and legally confirmed that a smell can be worth a fortune. 70. A man went to a karaoke bar, sang a song, and was then beaten up in the parking lot by another patron who apparently hated his singing voice. He sued the bar, not the attacker, claiming they failed to provide adequate security against bad music-related violence. The bar's insurance company settled with him. 71. The fine print on a lottery ticket is now legally binding thanks to one man. He bought a scratch-off ticket that appeared to be a $1 million winner due to a misprint. The lottery refused to pay. He sued, and a court sided with him, forcing the lottery to honor the ticket because the rules printed on it were technically met. 72. A woman sued a hair dye company after a home coloring kit turned her hair a grotesque shade of green right before a big job interview. She claimed the resulting emotional distress cost her the job. The company settled with her for a sum rumored to be in the tens of thousands, paying for their product's spectacular failure. 73. Can you be fired for being boring? One man in France was. His company fired him for not being fun enough and refusing to participate in after-work drinks and team-building activities. He sued for wrongful termination. The court sided with him, ruling that he had a fundamental right to be boring. 74. Is it possible to sue a weather satellite? A Florida fisherman thought so. After his boat was destroyed in a storm he claimed wasn't in the forecast, he didn't sue the weatherman. He sued the federal agency that operates the weather satellites, claiming the satellite failed to do its job. In a stunning turn, the government settled with him for over $1 million. 75. It's one of the oldest scams in the book, the claw machine that never grabs anything. A man in Las Vegas got so fed up with the machine that he sued its owner, claiming it was rigged. He presented video evidence of the claw failing to grasp prizes. A judge agreed it was a game of chance, not skill, and thus illegal gambling. The owner had to pay a settlement and remove the machine. 76. The fantasy sold in beer commercials finally met reality in a courtroom. A man sued a beer company for false advertising, claiming their commercials led him to believe drinking their beer would magically attract beautiful women to him. It didn't. Incredibly, to avoid a bigger PR disaster, the company settled with him out of court. 77. An office is generally a safe space, unless your coworkers are idiots. An employee was injured when a colleague playfully shot him in the back with a high-powered staple gun. He sued the company for fostering an unsafe work environment. He won, proving that a company can be held legally responsible for its employees' weaponized stupidity. 78. That feeling of betrayal when you open a bag of chips that's mostly air? It became a federal case. A class-action lawsuit accused snack companies of intentionally underfilling their bags. The legal battle resulted in settlements and forced companies to be more transparent about settling of contents, a win for snackers everywhere. 79. Warning labels are apparently just friendly suggestions. A man bought a ladder, ignored the massive sticker that said, "Danger, do not stand on top step," promptly stood on it, fell, and injured himself. He sued the ladder company. A jury awarded him several $1,000,000, rewarding him for his inability to read. 80. How do you get paid for your own failed escape attempt? A prisoner climbed onto the roof of the prison, fell off, and sued the state for failing to prevent his escape. He argued they had a duty to keep him safe, even from himself. He received a settlement, a financial reward for being a terrible escape artist. 81. A woman went to a car dealership for a free oil change promotion. While waiting, she was attacked by a rabid raccoon that had wandered onto the lot. She sued the dealership for not protecting her from wild animal attacks. And she won a settlement, establishing that car dealerships now have a legal duty to perform raccoon surveillance. 82. In what might be the pettiest lawsuit of all time, a man sued his date for texting during a movie. He filed a claim in small claims court for the price of her $17 ticket, arguing her behavior ruined his viewing experience. The judge, incredibly, sided with him and ordered the woman to pay him back. 83. A man in China divorced his wife and then sued her for being ugly. He claimed she tricked him into marriage by having extensive plastic surgery before they met, and he only found out when their children were born hideously ugly. A judge agreed this was a form of deception and awarded him over $120,000. 84. The phrase, "comes with all the fixings," is now legally enforceable. A woman bought a take-and-bake pizza that was supposed to include anchovies. It didn't. She sued the grocery store chain. Rather than fight a legal battle over tiny fish, the company settled the class action suit for a significant sum. 85. A construction worker was using a portable toilet on a job site when a truck accidentally backed into it, knocking it over. Covered in blue chemical and human waste, he sued. A jury awarded him over $4 million for the sheer psychological horror of the incident, arguably the most expensive porta-potty trip in history. 86. A man claimed his new, expensive Italian shoes were defective because they wore out too quickly. The company argued he was wearing them too often. The case went to court, where a judge ruled in the man's favor, stating that shoes are meant to be worn. The company was forced to refund him and pay his legal fees. 87. The Hot Cop calendar is a staple of fire department fundraisers, but one officer found it to be a career ender. After being fired, he sued the city, claiming he was terminated because his superiors were jealous of the attention he got from the calendar. A jury agreed and awarded him over $1 million for being too handsome. 88. If you're going to commit a crime, make sure you're comfortable. A man in Colorado was arrested and put in the back of a police car that was not very luxurious. He sued the city, claiming the car was so uncomfortable that the ride to jail caused him severe emotional distress and back pain. The city, wanting to avoid a public trial over the ergonomics of its police cruisers, settled with him. 89. A woman was fired from a water park after refusing to wear a bikini, citing her religious beliefs. She sued for religious discrimination. The company argued the bikini was part of the brand image. A court sided with the woman, awarding her a settlement and affirming that religious rights don't get thrown out at the water slide. 90. In a case that reads like a high school prank, a student put a laxative in the school's lemonade, sickening dozens of his classmates. The school was sued by the parents, not for the prank itself, but for failing to supervise the lemonade. The school's insurance had to pay out settlements to the affected families. 91. A famous television actress sued E-Trade for $100 million over their talking baby commercials. Her claim? The milkaholic baby in the ad, named Lindsay, was a misappropriation of her name and personality. The company settled with her for an undisclosed amount, admitting their talking baby was a little too specific. 92. A man was visiting a friend in an apartment complex when he was attacked and robbed in a dimly lit stairwell. He sued the apartment complex's owner for having inadequate lighting. He won a multi-million-dollar verdict, a ruling that has since forced landlords everywhere to take light bulbs more seriously. 93. A woman in New York was so distraught after the series finale of The Sopranos that she created a website demanding a different ending. The website host took it down. She sued the host for violating her free speech. She won a settlement, a victory for everyone who believes they can legally demand a rewrite of their favorite show. 94. A man bought a bag of all-natural tortilla chips, only to discover they were made with genetically modified corn. He launched a class action lawsuit for deceptive marketing. The company settled for $1.5 million, paying out claims to thousands of consumers who were tricked into eating non-natural corn chips. 95. A woman sued a local government after tripping over an uneven sidewalk and breaking her wrist. That's common. What's not common is the $1.2 million verdict she won. Her lawyer successfully argued that a quarter-inch difference in pavement height constituted gross negligence on the city's part. 96. A man was fired for repeatedly passing gas at work, creating what his boss called a toxic environment. He sued for wrongful termination, claiming he had a medical condition. He won his case, with the court ruling that his flatulence was a disability and the company had to pay him compensation. 97. A man in Oregon collected rainwater on his own property. The state charged him with violating a law that says all water is public property. He fought it in court. After a long legal battle, he won the right to collect the rain that falls on his own land, a victory against bureaucratic overreach. 98. A woman ordered chicken nuggets at a fast food restaurant, and one was so hot it gave her second-degree burns. Sound familiar? Unlike the coffee case, this was about the food itself being dangerously overheated. She sued and was awarded $100,000, proving that food temperature is a serious legal matter. 99. A man who was legally blind sued the organizers of a local marathon because the course was too dangerous for him to navigate. He argued they failed to make reasonable accommodations. A court agreed and awarded him $25,000, affirming that even marathons must comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. 100. A woman sued the makers of her mascara after she got a severe eye infection. The company claimed she must have used an old product. She proved she had just bought it and won a settlement after arguing the product lacked sufficient preservatives. This case led to stricter regulations on cosmetic safety. 101. And finally, the case that proves even the laws of physics can be put on trial. A woman in Israel was walking to work when she fell into a pothole that city workers had just paved over. The problem? The asphalt hadn't set yet. She literally fell into wet cement. She sued the city for her injuries and for the sheer humiliation of the incident, winning a verdict that confirmed a fundamental truth. Watch where you're walking, but also maybe don't pave over people. 101 lessons in weaponized stupidity. Now you've seen the blueprint, let's hear your pitch. What's that one absurd, infuriating, but secretly brilliant lawsuit you would file against modern life itself? I don't want suggestions, I want indictments. Fill the comments with them. And if this glorious madness is the reason you're on YouTube, prove it.